Today, let's take a look at one of the most fascinating beverages in the world that is so well celebrated and vitalizes every meal. If you're old enough, that is. Let's take a look at wine. Now, if you have no idea, wine is an alcoholic beverage that is made through the fermentation of grape juice. In particular for today, we'll go over the importance of wine in society, the chemistry of wine, the importance of the chemicals in wine, and the impact of wine.
So to begin, how does wine play a role in our society? Well, wine is commonly used among people for many reasons. In general, it plays an important role in bringing people together, as minor consumption of wine can improve one's mood. Throughout history, wine has been used in religious rites and rituals since it was a symbolic element to the consolidation of wine culture across all social strata and many cultures. Wine became a festive and energizing element in parties, gatherings, and weddings, which celebrates many elements of life and to spread joy. Wine is also put in many dishes across cultures for better taste and quality. A common belief among many people is that to enjoy wine, especially exquisite wine, is known to show good taste. If a person has good taste, it shows that they're knowledgeable, intelligent, and they are strong and capable in whichever field they are in. In the light of economy, the wine industry plays a huge role, especially here in Ontario. The Ontario wine and grape industry contributed to the Ontario economy business totaling $4.36 billion of the overall economic impact, an increase of $1.02 billion since 2011. In general, the wine industry as a whole is very profitable, as the wine industry growth rate suggests. For restaurants and bars, wine is easily one of the most profitable items on the menu and drives a lot of profit for bars.
Now, let's take a good look at the general chemistry of wine. In general, wine is a very versatile product, so its chemical makeup greatly varies, especially among the different types of wines. We have white wine, red wine, rose wine, sparkling wines, and even dessert wines. But among all wines, it's nothing more than a homogeneous mixture, or solution if you say, of hundreds or even thousands of compounds. We don't exactly know the number. In particular, there are some highly significant compounds that are good for mention. So to begin, the dominating compound of wine is of course water. Water is the solvent of the wine mixture, especially considering that 85% of wine on average consists of water. The water is mostly acquired from the pulp of the fermented grapes used to create wine. Moving on, we have our next dominant compound, ethanol. Ethanol, of course, is the compound that makes wine an alcoholic drink. Ethanol is an alcoholic compound which takes the form of a transparent liquid with a pungent odor. The alcoholic strength of the wine can be determined by how much ethanol it has, and on average it consists of 12.5% of the volume. It also adds a burning taste to the wine, like it does with most other alcoholic beverages. Most notably, it provides warmth and softness to the wine for the consumer. The last of the big three compounds in wine is glycerol. Glycerol is an organic compound that takes the form of a transparent, odorless, viscous, and sweet-tasting liquid. Along with ethanol, it most notably provides wine a sensation of softness.
Now, there's probably one word that you've been lost with throughout this presentation, which is fermentation. Now, to show, fermentation is basically the process where most of the sugar, specifically glucose, in the grape juice turns into ethanol and releases carbon dioxide as a byproduct. This is done so by yeast, which acts as a catalyst for the process. Although the glucose does not directly decompose into ethanol and carbon dioxide, it shapes into many other intermediate products in the process before it finally produces ethanol. For instance, before it decomposes into ethanol, it produces acetaldehyde. It also releases many byproducts when decomposing to other intermediate products in the process. Many of these intermediate byproducts contribute greatly to the wine's flavor and texture, such as acetic acid, which adds a sensation of harshness to the wine. Now, it is important to note that fermentation does not decompose every bit of sugar in the grape juice, and that it sometimes leaves its intermediate products in the solution. If it were done in complete efficiency, it would simply be an alcoholic grape juice and be wildly different to the wine we know as of today.
The way wine looks on the physiological aspect is a pretty significant blur. Although wine decreases anxiety and lightens up one's mood, it can be unsafe in large amounts. The ethanol in alcohol can block various nerve pathways in the brain. Long-term use of large amounts of wine can cause complications and damage to the heart, liver, pancreas, and even lead to certain types of cancer, such as liver cancer. It's also very dangerous to drink wine during pregnancy. It can cause birth defects and other serious harm to the infant. Along with that, it can significantly increase the risk of miscarriage, as well as development and behavioral disorders post-birth. Additionally, drinking 3 or more alcoholic drinks, like wine, per day can increase the blood pressure and make high blood pressure worse.
Now, in terms of environmental impact in wine, unfortunately, there is a significant amount of negative consequences. Considering the fermentation of wine grapes releasing carbon dioxide as a byproduct, this greatly contributes to the emissions of greenhouse gases and, of course, climate change. Along with that, the wine grape vines that are grown for creating wine use a considerable amount of pesticides and fertilizers to increase vine productivity and remove pests. The fertilizers used are typically synthetic fertilizers like ammonium nitrate. Repetitive use of these synthetic fertilizers can release a considerable amount of nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, which can be harmful since it is an indirect greenhouse gas. The pesticides used can also be harmful since they are capable to run off, which can contaminate local water sources.
Now, to summarize everything that we just went through, wine is an alcoholic beverage that is made through the fermentation of grape juice, which turns most of the sugars in the grape juice into ethanol, releasing carbon dioxide. Wine is a solution of many organic compounds dissolved in water such as ethanol and glycerol. Wine is a significant beverage in many parties and celebrations for many cultures and contributes a decent amount to the economy. Nevertheless, large amounts of wine can be harmful for the body and damage many precious organs and harm newborn babies if consumed during pregnancy. The winemaking process also plays a role in greenhouse gas emissions. Now you have a better glance of this exquisite and complicating beverage that shapes a lot of our culture. Thanks for watching, and we hope you were able to learn more about wine.